The first war beast pod crashes through the canopy of a national forest outside Seattle, its impact echoing through the night. Steam hisses from the scorched earth as the metallic shell cracks open with hydraulic precision. Local park ranger Ellie Martinez, working late to evacuate campers after reports of mysterious objects in the sky, feels the tremor underfoot. Against protocol, she drives toward the impact site. Probably a meteorite. She radios to headquarters. "I'll check it out and report back." 10 minutes later, her radio goes silent. By dawn, similar pods have breached Earth's atmosphere across 6 continents. Emergency services are overwhelmed as the first wave of attacks targets infrastructure and population centers. Initial reports describe the attackers as massive wolf-like creatures or armored bears, but footage soon reveals their true alien nature. In the Pentagon's crisis room, General William Hayes watches satellite imagery of devastation spreading across major cities. "This is a coordinated attack," he announces to the grim-faced Joint Chiefs. "We're at war with something that isn't from Earth." Meanwhile, aboard the inevitable Conquest, Admiral Zex Terra reviews the first casualty reports with satisfaction. War Beast Alpha 001, the prototype and most advanced of the Predators, has already eliminated 37 humans and disabled a power distribution center in eastern Russia. Its neural feeds show a methodical dismantling of human resistance. "See how they scatter." She purrs to her command staff. No coordination, no effective response. The beasts are tracking and eliminating their leadership first, as designed. Lieutenant Zickfell, newly assigned to the Conquest Fleet, ventures a question. "Admiral, our intelligence shows humans have sophisticated weapons systems. Won't they deploy those against our war beasts?" The Admiral's laugh is cold. "Their weapons are designed to kill each other. Soft targets with known vulnerabilities. The war beasts have hide that can withstand their crude projectiles and regenerate from most injuries. By the time they develop effective countermeasures, if they even can, it will be too late." On the third day, humanity's initial shock transforms into something the Vexeri didn't anticipate: organized resistance. In downtown Seoul, South Korean Special Forces units discover that concentrated fire at the same anatomical point can overwhelm the beast's regenerative capabilities. The tactic spreads virally through military channels. At the CDC in Atlanta, Dr. Maya Patel examines tissue samples from a beast killed in a coordinated police action. "This isn't just an animal," she declares to her research team. "The cellular structure shows signs of extensive genetic engineering. Someone made these things." By the end of the first week, Admiral Zex Terra notes a troubling anomaly in the war beast casualty rates. The creatures are still inflicting significant damage, but human resistance is becoming more effective each day. Drone footage shows military units adapting tactics in real time, and civilian populations organizing neighborhood defense groups rather than fleeing. Dr. Kiraven approaches with new data. "Admiral, I've been analyzing human communication patterns. They're sharing information about the war beasts globally: weaknesses, effective tactics, even anatomical diagrams. Their scientists are collaborating across political boundaries." The Admiral dismisses her concerns with imperial confidence. "A temporary anomaly. The plan proceeds as designed. Increase the aggression parameters in the next beast deployment wave." As she issues the command, a war beast pod on the outskirts of Mumbai is being methodically disassembled by a team of engineers, the first step in humanity's unexpected journey from prey to predator. Emma Chen works through her third sleepless night in the converted automotive factory. The ballistics engineer's workbench is littered with spent casings, damaged war beast tissue samples, and complex metallurgical readouts. Her latest armor-piercing round, the 17th iteration, sits in a testing chamber. Running final simulation, her assistant calls out. On the monitor, the virtual projectile strikes the digitized beast hide, penetrating 2 crucial layers before fragmenting precisely as designed. Emma nods grimly. "Begin production. Upload the specs to the Global Defense Network. Across the world, 3D printers and ammunition factories begin replicating her design within hours. In the ruins of downtown Phoenix, Master Sergeant Darius Wade leads a squad of mixed military personnel, Marines, Army Rangers, even 2 Air Force pararescue specialists. They move with practiced precision through the rubble, following a hunting methodology developed just days earlier. Contact, 200 meters northeast, whispers the point man, detecting the beast's signature using a thermal overlay system repurposed from wildlife conservation technology. Wade signals silently, deploying his team in a pattern that exploits the beast's predictable attack vectors. The ambush is executed flawlessly. The creature charges into a kill zone where multiple angles of fire target the vulnerable junction between its armored plates. Confirmation on target Alpha. Wade reports into his comm unit, moving to target Bravo. On the Vexere command ship, Junior Analyst Vextor brings troubling data to Dr. Kiraven. The humans have established a pattern recognition algorithm to predict war beast behavior, he explains, displaying intercepted communications. They're sharing tactical data between military units with increasing sophistication. Kiraven studies the information with growing alarm. The beasts are programmed to learn from each engagement, but the humans are learning faster. They've already identified 17 distinct attack patterns and developed countermeasures for 15. When she presents these findings to Admiral Zex Terra, the response is predictable. Impossible. These primitives were murdering each other over resource disputes mere days ago. The Admiral's claws dig into her command chair, increase the beast adaptation parameters. They should be evolving too quickly for humans to counter. But the new directive only accelerates humanity's learning curve. As the beasts adapt, human observers document each change, creating a predictive model that anticipates future evolutions. In Jakarta, former game warden Arif Subiarto leads civilian volunteers using hunting techniques originally developed for tracking tigers. The beasts follow the same prey assessment patterns as apex predators, he explains to his team. They prioritize targets based on perceived threat and vulnerability. We can use that against them. His methods help the group eliminate 3 beasts with minimal casualties, saving an entire district. Dr. Ravi Mehta's global webinar draws participants from military and civilian defense organizations worldwide. The wildlife biologist's presentation on predatory behavior patterns becomes the foundation for a unified tactical approach. These creatures are engineered weapons, he explains, but their designers built them on fundamental predator templates. That gives us an advantage. We've been studying predator behavior for centuries. Meanwhile, in Singapore, 13-year-old tech prodigy Lin Wei accidentally makes a breakthrough while analyzing beast communication patterns through her modified ham radio. They're not just communicating. They're networked, she tells her astonished parents. Like a distributed computer system. Her discovery, initially shared on a student science forum, reaches military intelligence within hours. By week's end, human technicians begin their first crude attempts to intercept and decode beast communications. On the command ship, Admiral Zex Terra receives increasingly troubling reports. The war beast's combat effectiveness, initially projected to increase over time, has instead begun to decline precipitously. Explain this failure, she demands of her tactical officer. Admiral, he responds hesitantly. It appears the humans are not only adapting to our current beast configurations, they're anticipating our next adaptations before deployment. The truth dawns slowly. The hunters have become the hunted. The underground research facility buzzes with focused intensity as Dr. Sarah Reynolds adjusts her prosthetic arm. The carbon fiber replacement, ironically utilizing principles observed in war beast anatomy, yields her unprecedented dexterity as she manipulates tissue samples. The cellular degradation pattern is consistent, she announces to her team. Their regenerative capabilities have a metabolic threshold. Dr. Amir Hassan, a biochemist who previously specialized in pharmaceutical development, studies the molecular analysis. These compounds should never exist together naturally. The beast's entire biology is artificial, optimized for combat, but with clear constraints, like built-in safety measures. Asks a junior researcher. More like engineering limitations, Reynolds responds. They're designed to be unstoppable, but their creators had to work within biological parameters. Every system has a breaking point. In the adjacent lab, Dr. Marcus Wong's breakthrough in beast communications leads to an unexpected discovery. The neurobiologist hunches over a specialized scanner, analyzing neural patterns from a sedated beast. They're not just receiving tactical updates, he exclaims. Their entire sensory system relays data back to some central hub. They're surveillance devices as much as weapons. This revelation transforms the research approach. If the beasts function as two-way communication devices, perhaps their network could be compromised. Outside Tehran, Farida Nazari's acoustics team moves their equipment into position near a beast hunting ground. The former concert sound engineer has repurposed stadium amplifiers to generate precisely calibrated sound frequencies. The beasts have enhanced auditory systems, she explains to the military observers. Their hearing is designed to detect prey at extreme distances, but that sensitivity is exploitable. When the creature appears, stalking toward a deliberately placed heat signature, Farida activates her device. The beast immediately convulses, its enhanced senses overwhelmed by frequencies the human ears barely register. Special forces move in to secure the incapacitated creature. Within hours, similar devices begin appearing worldwide, their schematics shared through secure military channels and civilian maker communities alike. In the Netherlands, quantum computing specialist Dr. Johanna Visser leads a team analyzing intercepted beast communication patterns. These signals have encryption unlike anything in our cryptographic literature, she notes. But they follow mathematical principles we can exploit. Her team develops an algorithm to predict signal patterns, allowing human defense forces to anticipate beast deployments before they occur. The tactical advantage shifts dramatically. Meanwhile, in Brazil, entomologist Dr. Paulo Oliveira notices something others have missed: pheromonal markers left by the beasts to claim territory. They're using chemical signals to establish hunting boundaries. He explains to military officials, "We can create synthetic versions to disrupt their territorial patterns, even lure them into traps." This chemical approach, combined with acoustic disruption and targeted ballistics, forms the foundation of a multi-pronged scientific offensive. On the Vexeri command ship, the situation grows increasingly dire. Admiral Zex Terra watches in disbelief as humans not only counter current beast tactics, but anticipate adaptations before implementation. "They've compromised our command protocols," the security officer reports grimly. "Humans are intercepting and decoding tactical updates before they reach the beasts." More disturbing still, human scientists have begun reverse engineering beast biology. Reports indicate they're developing compounds that specifically target the creature's engineered systems. How is this possible? The Admiral demands. Their scientific capabilities were assessed at Grade 3. This is Grade 6 innovation at minimum. Dr. Kirivan, no longer intimidated into silence, responds directly. They're demonstrating collaborative intelligence beyond our predictive models. Each human is limited, but their collective problem-solving accelerates exponentially under threat. For the first time, Admiral Zex Terra feels genuine concern. The standard conquest timeline is unraveling. There will be no easy subjugation, no swift victory. The war beasts, deployed on hundreds of worlds with overwhelming success, have met an unexpected match. "Prepare contingency measures," she orders quietly, "and increase monitoring of Earth's orbital capabilities. I want to know the moment they look to the stars." Nikolai Petrov kneels in the snow, examining an unusual pattern of claw marks on a fallen tree. His breath forms clouds in the bitter Siberian air as he motions to his team. "The beast is injured," he explains quietly. "See how the right forelimb strikes with less force. And these blood droplets have a yellowish tinge. internal damage. Anya, the teenage tracker whose family has hunted these forests for generations, points to a barely visible disturbance in the snow. It's moving toward the river, trying to mask its scent. Nikolai nods appreciatively. In just weeks, the girl has become their most valuable asset, combining instinctive tracking skills with an uncanny ability to predict beast behavior. Something about the young adapting faster to the new reality. Yuri, Anton, move to intercept at the western bank. Anya, and I will drive it toward you. He checks his specialized rifle, loaded with Emma Chen's latest armor-piercing rounds. Remember, hit the junction points between armor plates. Don't waste ammunition on center mass. Their coordinated hunt unfolds with methodical precision. The beast, despite its advanced design, falls prey to hunting techniques refined over thousands of years of human evolution. As it collapses, Nikolai notes its modified features, different from those they hunted last week. They're adapting, he radios to command. This one has reinforced neck plating and modified sensory organs. Acknowledged, comes the response. Secure tissue samples for the research teams. Across oceans, in Australia's Red Centre, Uncle Jimmy points to subtle tracks that military scanners missed entirely. These creatures think they're apex predators, he tells Major Hassan's Special Forces unit. But they don't understand country. The land tells us everything we need to know. The Aboriginal elder demonstrates how the beast's weight distribution reveals its hunting intentions, how disturbed rocks indicate its direction change, how scattered wildlife patterns betray its presence. Knowledge accumulated over tens of thousands of years proves devastatingly effective against alien predators. Major Hassan has learned to trust these traditional tracking methods above her high-tech equipment. The scanners give us data, she explains to her superiors later. The traditional knowledge gives us context. After successfully eliminating another beast pack, her team harvests materials for research and community defense. Nothing goes to waste. Claws become cutting tools, hide becomes armor, specialized organs are preserved for scientific study. In Papua New Guinea, indigenous hunters discover that certain native plant compounds cause allergic reactions in the beasts, disrupting their sensory capabilities. Within days, this knowledge spreads globally, incorporated into defensive measures from Finland to Argentina. The Vexari monitoring systems capture disturbing imagery. Humans adorned in beast-derived armor, wielding weapons crafted from alien components, moving with strategic coordination that mimics the beast's own pack tactics. Most alarming is the speed of adaptation. Human defense systems evolve faster than the beasts themselves. Admiral Zek's Terra studies footage of a beast being systematically dismantled by hunters in the Congo Basin. The humans use simple tools but complex strategies, communicating through hand signals and anticipating the creature's movements with unsettling accuracy. They're learning too quickly, she mutters. Each beast we deploy becomes a resource for them, rather than a threat. Commander Velinar approaches cautiously. Admiral, we've detected unusual activity in their orbital installations. They've repositioned satellites and communication arrays. Surveillance measures, she asks. No, Velinar responds grimly. They appear to be triangulating our position. The implications settle like ice in her core. Humans aren't merely defending. They're preparing to counterattack. The hunters have identified their hunters. Increase stealth protocols, she orders, and prepare a report for the High Council. The standard subjugation timeline requires. She hesitates, the words nearly sticking in her throat. Adjustment. As her officers scramble to comply, Admiral Zexterra reviews tactical projections with growing unease. The war beasts, deployed as an overwhelming force, have instead become an unintended education. Each one destroyed teaches humans more about Vexari technology, biology, and tactical doctrine. For the first time in her decorated career, she considers a possibility never before faced in the hegemony's expansion. The prey might be more dangerous than the predator. Dr. Eliza Washington wipes sweat from her brow as she studies the alien propulsion components. The reproposed Detroit factory hums with activity. Engineers, physicists, and material scientists working in unprecedented collaboration. The gravity manipulation matrix operates on principles we theorized but never implemented. She explains to General Chen of the United Earth Defense Council. It's like finding a working prototype of something we only imagined. Can we replicate it? The general asks, eyeing the disassembled drop pod. Not yet, but we understand enough to track similar signatures. She points to a holographic display showing Earth's orbital plane, and potentially to disrupt them. Across the factory floor, Dr. Kailash Sharma, a quantum physicist whose work was previously deemed too theoretical for practical application, makes a crucial breakthrough. The pod's shield technology has distinct harmonic vulnerabilities, he announces. Specific frequencies cause momentary collapses in the protection field. This insight catalyzes a new weapons platform designed not to match Vexari technology, but to exploit its specific weaknesses. At Cape Canaveral, the International Space Coalition prepares their countermeasures under extraordinary security protocols. Rockets modified with components derived from Beast communication systems stand ready for deployment. Each carries a payload designed by General Sanchez's multinational engineering team. Ordinary tungsten rods with extraordinary targeting capabilities. We can't match their technological sophistication, Sanchez tells the assembled launch team. But we don't need to. We just need to get through their shields. The launches commence at precisely calculated intervals, timed to minimize detection. Traditional propulsion systems carry the payloads to orbit before a gravity assist system, reverse-engineered from the pods, accelerates them toward their targets. In Bangalore, Dr. Amara Patel's genetics team works under biohazard protocols, studying the war beast's immune responses. The creature's biology, designed to withstand alien environments, presents both a challenge and an opportunity. Their immune defenses are remarkably sophisticated, she explains to medical officers, but they follow predictable protocols. We've identified a cascading failure point that will trigger a systemic shutdown. She displays molecular models showing the engineered pathogen, a modified virus that specifically targets the beast's unique biology while remaining harmless to Earth life. Initial field tests show promising results, with infected beasts experiencing rapid degradation of combat capabilities. Meanwhile, in low Earth orbit, repurposed surveillance satellites begin scanning for Vexari energy signatures. Using algorithms developed by Dr. Visser's team, they detect the subtle gravitational distortions created by the cloaked alien fleet. We have confirmation, announces the orbital monitoring officer at NORAD. Multiple vessels, positioned behind the moon is predicted. The information triggers the next phase of humanity's response. Targeting. Admiral Zex Terra receives the first proximity warning too late. The crude projectiles, dismissed as debris by automated systems, suddenly accelerate toward the light cruiser in inevitable domination, using gravitational techniques eerily similar to Vexari drop pod technology. Shields, she commands, but the kinetic weapons have been precision-engineered to exploit specific harmonic vulnerabilities. They puncture the shields at calculated points, striking with devastating accuracy. Hull breach in sections 3 through 7, reports the damage control officer, panic evident in his voice. We're venting atmosphere. Impossible, whispers Commander Velnar. Their weapons are primitive. How could they possibly? They used our own technology against us, interrupts the science officer studying the debris data. The projectiles contained components from the war beast drop pods, modified to emit frequencies that disrupt our shield harmonics. Admiral Zex Terra stares at the tactical display as more human launches are detected. The strategic implications are staggering. In just weeks, humans have not only defended against the war beasts, but have reverse-engineered alien technology sufficiently to mount a counteroffensive in space. All vessels, initiate evasive patterns, she orders. Deploy countermeasures and prepare for potential boarding actions. As her crew scrambles to comply, a chilling thought forms in the Admiral's mind. The war beasts weren't softening Earth for invasion. They were providing humans with everything needed to fight back. The hunter had armed its prey. The damaged Vexeri vessel Inevitable Domination lists in orbit, emergency containment field struggling to maintain pressure. Inside, crew members race through flickering corridors as Commander Ithbal attempts to stabilize critical systems. How did they penetrate our shields? He demands, mandibles clicking in agitation. No pre-spaceflight civilization should possess such capabilities. On the primary command ship, Admiral Zex Terra watches the crisis unfold with mounting dread. The human counterattack, impossible just days earlier, threatens her entire fleet. More concerning is the methodology. Humans haven't merely gotten lucky. They've systematically identified and exploited specific weaknesses in Vexeri technology. Status report on the war beasts, she demands. The tactical officer's display shows catastrophic failure rates. The biological offensive is spreading rapidly, Admiral. Human scientists have engineered a pathogen that targets the beast's modified immune systems. Effectiveness rate is approaching 70%. Footage from ground monitoring drones shows war beasts collapsing mid-hunt, their enhanced biology turned against them by Dr. Patel's precisely engineered virus. The contagion spreads through water systems, aerosol dispersal, and even direct application by human hunting parties. In Malaysia, Dr. Cheng Li's research team reaches a breakthrough in interspecies communication. Their subject, a captured war beast designated Prometheus, responds to a combination of chemical signals, neural interfaces, and behavioral conditioning. The creature's neural architecture allows for rudimentary command integration. Dr. Lai explains to military observers. They were designed to receive orders, not to think independently. This insight leads to a stunning development. Humans begin reprogramming captured beasts to track and eliminate their own kind. By combining pheromonal control methods with neural interface technology, reverse-engineered from the creatures themselves, they create the ultimate counter-predator. Aerial footage from the Amazon basin shows a reprogrammed beast leading the human tactical team to a nest of its former pack. The precision of the operation stuns Vexeri observers. The humans have turned their weapons against them with devastating effectiveness. This violates all expected response patterns, whispers Science Officer Trelnak. The creatures should be overwhelming their defenses, not becoming their assets. More disturbing still are developments in global communication networks. Human engineers, studying components harvested from war beast neural implants, have begun deciphering Vexeri transmission protocols. Their initial probes are primitive but precisely targeted, focusing on vulnerabilities in automated systems. Commander Velnar approaches the Admiral with growing panic. Our secondary network has been compromised. Human cyber attacks are bypassing security protocols faster than our systems can adapt. Impossible. Zex Terra snarls. Their digital technology is centuries behind ours. They're not using their technology. Velnar responds grimly. They're using ours, modified components from the war beast's communication implants. They've created hybrid systems we never anticipated. The implications stagger the Admiral. The war beasts, designed as the perfect invasion tool, have become an unintentional technology transfer. Each aspect of their sophisticated design, from neural interfaces to biological enhancements to communication systems, has provided humans with insights into Vexeri capabilities. In a secure bunker beneath Geneva, the newly formed Earth Cyber Command launches the next phase of their offensive. Led by former security specialist Aisha Mbeki, the team has spent weeks analyzing alien communication protocols harvested from beast implants. Their systems are advanced but predictable. Mbeki explains to the Joint Military Council. They rely on computational superiority rather than creative problem-solving. We've identified exploitable patterns in their network architecture. The resulting cyber attack doesn't attempt to match Vexeri processing power. Instead, it exploits specific decision trees in the fleet's automated defense systems, creating cascading errors that human hackers can leverage. Aboard the command ship, Critical systems begin failing in seemingly random patterns. Life support fluctuates. Navigation arrays report contradictory data. Communication channels open to empty space. We're being systematically compromised, reports the chief security officer, mandibles quivering. They're not just attacking blindly. They're mapping our networks through these incursions, learning our architecture. Admiral Zex Terra stares at the command displays, watching as the unthinkable unfolds. The predators have become prey. The weapons have become teachers. The invasion force has become the besieged. Begin isolation protocols, she orders quietly, and prepare a direct transmission to the High Council. Priority Alpha. For the first time in the hegemony's 10,000-year history of conquest, a subjugation fleet commander prepares to report not just a setback, but a fundamental miscalculation. The holographic forms of the Vexari High Council loom over Admiral Zex Terra like ancient judges. Their ceremonial armor gleams despite the thousands of light years separating them from the beleaguered command ship. Unprecedented failure, hisses Counselor Drax Ven, his elongated skull adorned with conquest medals. 3 vessels disabled, war beast effectiveness at critical lows, and infiltration of our secure networks. Explain yourself, Admiral. Zex Terra stands rigidly at attention, knowing her career, possibly her life, hangs on this explanation. Counselors, humans demonstrate cognitive adaptation rates beyond our predictive models. They've weaponized our own technology against us with a speed no species has ever achieved. She displays tactical feeds showing humans wearing armor crafted from beast components, wielding weapons that exploit Vexari vulnerabilities, and coordinating with efficiency that rivals the hegemony's own military doctrine. The war beasts accelerated their development rather than suppressing it, she continues. Each deployment provided them with more biological and technological samples to study and reverse engineer. Counselor Mithnera, the oldest member of the High Council, leans forward. You propose that a primitive species with rudimentary space capabilities has outmaneuvered our conquest protocols in mere weeks. The evidence is irrefutable, Zex Terra responds, gesturing to the damage reports. They don't match our technological sophistication, but they exploit specific weaknesses with remarkable precision. As the debate intensifies, Grand Strategist Vex Koreth suggests the simplest solution. Initiate orbital cleansing protocols. Reduce their civilization to ash, then harvest resources at leisure. The resource surveyor, Coordinator Iptsal, immediately objects. Her multiple appendages wave in agitation. Unacceptable. Initial scans showed concentrated deposits of nobelium and other transuranic elements vital to the new propulsion systems. Orbital bombardment would render those resources inaccessible for centuries. The argument grows heated as the Council divides between extermination advocates and resource preservationists. Neither faction considers retreat a viable option. The hegemony has never abandoned a conquest in its 10,000-year expansion. Admiral Zex Terra is about to offer a compromise strategy when the ship's primary systems suddenly fail. Emergency lighting bathes the bridge in crimson as the holographic connection to the High Council dissolves. We're experiencing a coordinated cyber attack, reports the security officer. Multiple penetrations across all command systems. On main view screens across the fleet, a simple message appears in perfect Vexari script. We see you. Simultaneously, ship after ship reports critical systems failures. Life support oscillates. Navigation systems display false coordinates. Communication arrays broadcast gibberish. In Geneva's subterranean cyber command center, Aisha Mbiki and her team execute the most sophisticated hack in human history. Using principles gleaned from war beast neural implants and drop pod control systems, they've created hybrid interfaces that exploit the Vexari fleet's network architecture. We're not trying to understand their entire system, Mbiki explains to observing officials. We're identifying specific vulnerabilities, the digital equivalent of pressure points. The attack doesn't attempt to seize control of alien vessels, an impossible task given the technological gap. Instead, it creates cascading failures that force the Vexari to divert resources from offensive capabilities to basic survival functions. Aboard the command ship, Admiral Zexterra watches in horror as her fleet's coordinated defense collapses into individual ships struggling to maintain critical systems. How could they possibly understand our network architecture so quickly? Demands the fleet's chief technologist, mandibles clicking in distress. The Admiral stares at footage showing human engineers working with components harvested from war beast communication implants. The creature's neural interfaces, designed to receive tactical updates from the fleet, had provided humans with a direct window into Vexari information systems. "We gave them everything they needed," she whispers. The war beasts weren't just weapons. They were unintentional teachers. As system failures cascade through the fleet, the Admiral faces the unthinkable. The subjugation mission isn't merely behind schedule. It has failed completely. For the first time in her career, possibly the first time in hegemony history, a conquest fleet commander contemplates retreat not as a strategic redeployment, but as the only path to survival. The hunters had become the hunted, and the galaxy would never be the same. 5 years after the Vexari retreat, the prototype vessel Prometheus hovers above the launch platform at the Atacama Space Center. Its gleaming hull represents humanity's greatest technological achievement, a hybrid design incorporating reverse-engineered Vexari systems with uniquely human innovations. Captain Maya Rodriguez, former tactical specialist during the Beast War, conducts final inspections before humanity's first interstellar journey. The gravitic drive is functioning at optimal parameters, reports Chief Engineer Hiroshi Tanaka. "We've improved the efficiency beyond what we observed in the Vexari systems." Rodriguez nods appreciatively. The ship doesn't merely copy alien technology, it improves upon it. The defensive systems utilize oscillating shield frequencies that constantly adapt, preventing the harmonic vulnerabilities that human weapons exploited in Vexari vessels. The hull incorporates biological principles observed in war beast armor, creating a self-repairing superstructure. Navigation is calibrated for the Proxima Centauri approach, announces Lieutenant Sarah Chen from the command deck. Quantum communication arrays are online and synchronized with Earth's network. The quantum communication system, perhaps humanity's most significant innovation, allows instantaneous transmission across vast distances, a technology the Vexari themselves hadn't mastered. Developed from principles observed in the war beast's neural links, it will maintain contact with Earth regardless of distance. As final preparations conclude, United Earth President Elena Vasquez addresses the crew from Mission Control. "You carry humanity's message to the stars," she tells them, her voice betraying emotion despite her diplomatic training. "We go not as conquerors, but as explorers and potential allies. The Vexari awakened capabilities we never knew we possessed. Our resilience in the face of their aggression revealed our greatest strength, our ability to adapt, cooperate, and overcome." The Prometheus departs Earth orbit with minimal fanfare, a deliberate choice reflecting humanity's new cosmic perspective. Ostentation serves no purpose in the vastness of space. Weeks later, the vessel approaches its first destination beyond the solar system, a small trading outpost on the edge of what was once Vexari territory. The station's sensors detect the approaching ship with confusion. The energy signature resembles hegemony technology, but with significant deviations. "Unknown vessel, identify yourself," demands the station controller, mandibles clicking nervously. Since the unprecedented retreat from Earth, hegemony control has weakened throughout the sector. "This is Captain Rodriguez of the Earth vessel, Prometheus," comes the response in perfect Vexari speech. "We come seeking peaceful contact and information exchange." The controller's compound eyes widen in shock. Earth, the forbidden world. News of the human arrival spreads through the station like wildfire. The various subjugated species, insectoid krell, amphibious myrini, crystalline tholians, gather in observation areas, straining for glimpses of the legendary humans who repelled the previously invincible Vexari. On the station's command deck, Elder Kirvex of the Krell receives the human delegation with ceremonial deference. His species had suffered under hegemony control for 3 centuries. "Your reputation precedes you," he chittered, antennae quivering. "Since news of your resistance spread, rebellions have ignited across a dozen systems. The Vexari call it the Earth Contagion, the idea that resistance is possible." Captain Rodriguez presents the Elder with Earth's formal greeting, a data crystal containing cultural, scientific, and historical information freely shared. "We come not to replace one empire with another, but to offer alliance and mutual defense. No species should suffer under forced subjugation." The Elder studies her with compound eyes that miss nothing. The Vexari believe themselves the ultimate predators of the galaxy. What did they fail to understand about humans? Rodriguez considers this carefully before responding. They mistook technological advancement for evolutionary success. They engineered the perfect predators, but failed to recognize that humans evolved as persistence hunters. We don't just adapt to threats, we learn from them. The longer the challenge, the more effective we become. As the diplomatic exchange continues, other vessels depart Earth for distant systems, each carrying the same message: cooperation over conquest, mutual defense against oppression, voluntary exchange of knowledge. In a secure chamber deep within the Vexari homeworld, the High Council reviews reports of human expansion with mounting concern. Their quarantine strategy has failed completely. Humanity hasn't just survived. They've thrived and now threaten the very foundation of the hegemony. They've made contact with 7 former tributary worlds, reports Intelligence Directors X-Corps. Each has subsequently declared independence from the hegemony. The youngest council member, breaking centuries of protocol, speaks a truth the others refuse to acknowledge. "Our greatest tactical error wasn't deploying the war beasts. It was failing to recognize that humans would use every challenge as a catalyst for advancement. They were always the apex predators. We simply gave them the tools to prove it." As human vessels continue their journey outward, the galaxy witnesses the birth of a new order, one based not on conquest and subjugation, but on resilience, cooperation, and a remarkable potential of a species that turned invasion into opportunity. The war beasts, designed as the perfect conquerors, had instead revealed the perfect defenders. And the galaxy would never be the same.